Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. It is Foxworth Friday. Domonique Foxworth, what's going on?
Not much, man. I'm happy to be here. I see we reading the same book. Got
Yeah,
that thing
man.
out. Everybody got to support the brother.
Yeah, we had the homie Roy on the other day. People really enjoyed that episode, and I'm trying not to take that personally because I think I said 18 words, and people are telling me that that's the best episode that they can remember.
I mean, it's not fair because it's like they sitting in boiling water all the time, and they have gotten used to it. So then you throw a little something different in there, like, wow,
That
like,
is
don't
true.
you realize that I've been scorching?
That
And
is
Roy's
fair.
a professional comedian, which is
He
also
is.
a bit of a cheat code. Like
He is. It was like the best HQ interview ever. And I mean that in the good ways, not the bad ways. You know what I mean? Like it went. By the way, I'm just noticing this. As Dominique, we've been doing this show together now in this capacity for, I guess, about 5 years or so. But it's not like it's the only time that we've had you at that background. And it dawned on me. You ever notice that they stop asking kids to draw pictures once they might be good at them? Like as soon as they start showing a little progress, they're like, yeah, enough of that.
I got the rejects. We actually got some quality. We got some quality stuff upstairs, but art is important, but it ain't for everybody. It's like sports is important, but it ain't for everybody. The reason why they stopped doing it when people start getting good at it is because they didn't get good at it. The ones who got good at it kept going. The same with sports. You know why you stopped playing in the 8th grade?
Yeah, but the difference is you might still go shoot in your driveway by yourself. I don't know about you. I can't draw to save my life. I've been terrible at drawing my entire existence. It has always blown me away, people who are good at drawing, because I can't write. I can barely write, let alone draw.
I don't know. I'm sure there have been studies done on it, but my handwriting is pretty terrible also. But I used to not be able to draw, which I probably still can't draw. But I remember when I had kids, and this was a while ago, when my oldest was young, she asked me to draw her a picture of one of her characters, and I surprised myself. I just looked at it. It was like, I could copy these specific shapes. So maybe I had late onset.
Yeah, I don't know. I think about writing, and one of the favorite things about my dad is my dad does everything right-handed except write, and he writes left-handed. And his handwriting looks exactly like I just told you, like a right-handed person writing with his left hand. I am convinced that if he ever decided to try with his right hand, it would have been worlds different.
That's so like, it makes no sense because I know like back in the day, they would make left-handed people write right-handed.
Yes.
Your father was just so anti-establishment that he was like, oh, that's how y'all doing it?
I don't know, man. Or maybe he was just so smart that the only way he could find a challenge out of this stuff, I'm not sure. But speaking of a challenge, man, we got to give some props to you. You were the earliest adopter of the Indianapolis Colts this year. You said that they were going to be good, and that was even knowing that Daniel Jones was going to be their quarterback. Now, I made the point on this show. They beat a bunch of bums, and then they played against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are a little bit bum-ish, right? Or maybe they're not bums, but they don't live in a nice neighborhood, right? They gave the Colts the work. And look, that happens every now and then. Like, I don't think everything is necessarily a referendum, but I do think we all got the same question about the Colts, which is, how much winning we talking about you doing with Daniel Jones at quarterback? And so I ask you, how much winning you think they talking about doing with Daniel Jones at quarterback?
Well, they think they're doing a lot because they gave up 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner to like bolster that secondary. So they loading up to take on the Chiefs. Like I don't know why else you do that unless you think that you're gonna have to take on them late in the playoffs, which I respect that. And I think after the end of that Daniel Jones, the most recent, the Steelers game, I think it was probably everyone's first reaction and be like, there go Daniel Jones. Then you watch it and you like, I don't know who could have survived in that. Like that O-line has been probably one of the best, if not the best, all season long. They got destroyed. There was people in Daniel Jones' lap all game long, and they also had the the benefit of Jalen Ramsey being one of the few guys that's big enough, strong enough, and athletic enough to cover Tyler Warren, who's a problem at tight end. And then they got a bunch of good receivers. They don't got no great guys. So, like, I don't know. I think to your point, this was a bad sign, but it's not a referendum on the Colts ceiling. And I also don't think it's like a referendum on Daniel Jones. I'm not sure that anybody short of the elite quarterbacks, and maybe even them, could have done anything with the way that run game was destroyed and the way that that pass protection was getting just run through.
I am struggling with the idea that the last time I saw Daniel Jones, he was terrible and not young.
Yeah.
And that suddenly all of this flips up. Because the other example of this, obviously, is Sam Darnold, who was good for 16 games last year and then flat out awful for 2 games. But this year, he's making it really, really difficult for me to keep being right? You know what I mean? Like, he looks excellent this year. Now, granted, he got dudes to throw the ball to. Like, let us be clear about that. But the throws are there to be made, and he's the guy who's making the throws. And look, people have made the jokes about, oh, man, those New York teams wrote those guys off for dead. So did other people. Like nobody has to apologize for saying, hey, we're out on Daniel Jones. They gave him, 6 years to try to get that right? Sam Darnold got plenty of time with the Jets, and it was so bad. Like, they gave him more time than he necessarily was owed in this. But I'm looking around at this. Mac Jones, who doesn't look terrible anymore. Do we have to, change the way that we evaluate what the arc of growth is for a quarterback? Because, look, the salary structure doesn't really allow it. You need to see some real signs by year 3 before you start investing some money. But think about how many of these slow creep guys are still going in the NFL. Like, he hasn't been good this year, but like Geno Smith being an example, a very extreme case. But these guys that we saw be terrible young, and by the way, back in the day, that used to be it. Drew Brees was terrible for 3 years. What they don't tell you about Warren Moon is he won all them games up there in Canada and all those Grey Cups, and he came to the NFL, and it was not sweet for a couple of years. And I think it took him almost damn near until 30 years old before he started looking like a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. I don't know what you're supposed to do anymore with these cats.
There's so many things in here. So I think that it's hard to be able to understand exactly how to evaluate a quarterback when there's so many other variables that impact the quarterback. I think even the Giants ownership at one point said, we ain't give Daniel Jones a real chance, and which is probably fair. But also there's some limitations on his game. So there's different players.
Other people have had worse chances than they gave him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. But other people have been better. So I think this is the question with them, is trying to figure out, and it's almost impossible to disentangle all these different variables. You as an economist can recognize a situation like this, that it's just so many different factors. Like right now, you talk about looking at the teams that you beat. We get hype about teams that go 10-1 and then fall apart. And then people yell at us or anyone else who's like, but we got to look at who they beat or look at how they win. And like with the Steelers, I think Steelers fans want to say the defense is back. And I tell them, look, y'all won the turnover margin by 5 and won the game by 7. Let's not get too excited. Y'all won the turnover margin by 4 against the Patriots. Won the game by 7. Let's chill out and relax. So there's so many, because the season is short relatively as far as number of games are concerned. It's only like 50 or 60 plays in a game. It's really hard to be able to have enough data to make a decision. And also, coaching is so important, especially for the quarterback. No one is getting drafted in the NFL, particularly in the first round, if they don't have some ability. And if your ability doesn't match up with what is around you or with the mind of the person who's designing the offense, and then on top of it, these kids is 22. You're 22, you in the NFL. There's so many things going on that give me 6 years or 7 years in New York City at 22 with some money in my pocket, starting quarterback, and then you send me to Indianapolis. No disrespect, Indianapolis, but that playbook looking a lot more interesting when you're not in the world's most interesting city. So I don't know. there's so many other factors that it's hard to tell.
It's a page turner,
right?
I couldn't put it down.
Yeah, watching film is a little easier when everything closed at midnight.
Oh shit, turn that shit up. It's like,
So I don't know. There's so many things. It's impossible to know. And I think Kyler Murray is a guy who's coming up on this situation also. And the one thing I'll say before we move on to anything else about the difference between Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold right now is Sam Darnold is doing it without the help of a running game, which is like a really dominant running game, which is particularly impressive. Daniel Jones is getting 3-4 explosive plays a game, and teams coming in deciding, like, how we going to stop them? We're going to stop Taylor. People are coming into the Seahawks game like, man, how can we slow down Sam Darnold? And he's still putting up numbers.
Jonathan Taylor with the argument for being the most underrated football player of all time. And I know that sounds like an extreme thing, but I'm just going to make this point. I want to say he ran for 6,000 yards in 3 years at Wisconsin. And 25 years ago, you're on the Wheaties box for being that guy. Like, he wins a Heisman. 2,000 yards will get you a Heisman Trophy, right? Like, in another time, he comes out of college super famous, and he's been excellent as a running back once he got to the NFL. Like, there's a different time where he is as big a star as anybody else. He never won no Heisman off of doing that. And he's just like, he's probably going to be Offensive Player of the Year this year. He is the centerpiece of an NFL offense, which running backs typically do not get to be, but we do not talk about him like we talk about Saquon Barkley. Maybe that's because he did not play for the Giants, right? Like, play in the New York market. But Taylor's so cold, and we just don't treat him like Mr. So cold. But I want to say, you can often tell the difference between that person's bad and this situation is bad. Right? You can see when it's a combination of the two. You can often see when neither is the case, right? When people, get a little frustrated with me about Jalen Hurts, I see a guy that's largely been in great situation, but he himself is what he is, right?
Right.
Daniel Jones looked bad in bad situations. Sam Darnold looked bad in bad situations. They just looked absolutely bad. I still think it's going to come down to what it came down to last year in one of them games with Sam Darnold, and he is going to wet himself because that is what Sam Darnold has done under those circumstances. I seen Daniel Jones be the starting quarterback in a winning playoff game one time.
True. Toted that thing. He was
he sure
like
did.
150 on the ground.
He sure did. But let me tell you this.
Yeah.
I see what them cats is doing. I see how it's turned around for them. And you know who needs to be watching them and thinking about it every day? Anthony Richardson. That's who. And look, I don't remember you and I have talked about this, but I, with limited data, firmly believe this. The Trey Lance time is coming. Somebody's going to throw a 4th round pick or something like that at him after these years with Harbaugh. And like, preseason Trey Lance has looked a lot better as a Charger than he did as a 49er.
Fair. Also, these are two very unique players that you're talking about. The rare situation of being bad in college and still getting drafted high.
Yes.
So, like, I get...
Well, that's with Richardson and not Lance.
Yeah. I mean, Lance
had like a 40 touchdown, 1 interception season as a sophomore and then just didn't play as a junior.
You got a lot more respect for them.
I'm saying we can't say he was bad.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, yeah, that's fair. I mean, that was the COVID year and all that stuff. I think people chalk it up to that too. And he
didn't. That's the thing. He didn't play the COVID year.
Right. And the scouting and all that stuff was impacted by that. And we also have the experience of him playing with a guy who gets the best out of every quarterback he's ever had in Kyle Shanahan. I mean, I would love to see both of those guys do their thing. I think we got less reason to believe that it's going to work for either of them. And I think also, like, we've had this black quarterback conversation a lot before. There are criticisms of black quarterbacks that I'm willing to entertain now. that I was not willing to entertain in the past. And I think some of those criticisms could be fair. And that's why I was higher on this year's Colts than I have been in a while, because I saw in Shane Steichen a coach who, given the right talent, can put players in positions to have success as long as you can trust the guy to consistently make the right decision and be accurate. And I was like, all right, Daniel Jones can do that. And I have no reason to believe that Anthony Richardson can do that. And maybe he'll grow into it. Like, he'll get better.
I think that I think is the point there. Not necessarily that Anthony Richardson could do this at the exact time, at this exact time.
Right.
But I wasn't as confident that Daniel Jones could do the things that you were talking about prior to this, right? I wasn't as confident that Sam Darnold could do the things that you talked about prior to this. Like, it just seems like the growth arc for quarterbacks is just a little bit longer than we give it. Matthew Stafford, I mean, granted, Matthew Stafford is an otherworldly talent, but he's on a 17, 18-year growth arc. It's still going.
Yeah.
Like, I was right about him before, and then he turned into something that you just didn't think happened. It just keeps, slowly but surely, he just keeps getting better at what he does. And so I don't understand how this works with these dudes. Like, how you're supposed to know when it's time to cut bait.
I think so. Matt Stafford, I would say, has been different. I think Matt Stafford is kind of the definition of like the surroundings will improve things. And I think Matt Stafford was always pretty good, but he was always kind of reckless and trust his arm too much and would turn the ball over. That hasn't really changed. It's just that the support that's around him is so much better that he doesn't have to be as aggressive and they can pick him up and make plays for him sometimes. I think he kind of, I don't want to say that he overachieved, but I think his issues were exacerbated by the situation. And the fact that he maintained the starter there and maintained like a top half of the league quarterback while he was in those situations, which weren't all bad, but
I mean, if only I got to throw to Calvin Johnson, right?
Exactly. But I mean, there was other issues there than just Calvin Johnson. So I think he has definitely gotten better, but his issues haven't gone away. It's not like Josh Allen where he don't quite do those things anymore. Matt,
I'll give you a chance. He's Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
I've seen people get mad at me for making that call, but I'm like, no. That is exactly it. Look exactly like a quarterback until they look like a running back.
And the greatest, too. Like, they both got arms that will make you, like, your jaw drop. But then sometimes, just like, hey, let me see what they doing over there. Let me throw it over there and see how they feel about catching the ball every once in a while.
Yeah, no. Now, you mentioned Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this Kyler Murray thing is interesting, right? Because you and I talked about this a little bit before the show. And for those who don't know, they put Kyler Murray on injured reserve, and he don't sound like he that hurt. Like, it sounds like it'd be like, oh, he'll be ready to play any day now. And that day they're waiting on is when Jacoby Brissett stops playing well. And I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong. He's been cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like he's been excellent. But
you're talking about Jacoby now, yeah.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett, yeah. But he's been all right. However, Marvin Harrison Jr. was looking like a flat-out bust, and now he doesn't look like a bust anymore. They've won some games, and important point here, people don't like that little dude. They don't. It is the story I've told you that I don't tell in front of people. People don't like Kyler Murray. He a different sort of cat. That is definitely part of what is going on here. But I am hearing people making this argument now that, hey, man, maybe they just stick with him. And I guess my question is Jacoby Brissett's growth arc long enough that he could really be better than Kyler Murray right now?
No. I mean, he could be better for what they're doing right there. But I think Jacoby Brissett is like isn't he participating in those backup quarterback commercials for some insurance company? Like, even Jacoby know who Jacoby is at this point. So I think that Jacoby as a backup quarterback should be like, his results are going to be predictable. There's no like super crazy high end. There's not going to be super crazy low end. The problem with Kyler Murray is you're paying him and you're expecting him to be able to give you more consistent high end. And he can't do that in part because of like the physical limitations. At least I'm assuming that's the reason why he doesn't attack the middle of the field, which is like, it's very limiting on offense. And he makes up for it with some explosiveness, but he doesn't make up for it nearly enough. And I think this goes back to like another criticism that's been made of him, that we all got annoyed when they put that clause in the contract. Maybe we could have about him needing to study and whatever. Like, yeah, maybe the clause shouldn't be in the contract, but they ain't just pull out a clause out their ass that ain't never been used before. They didn't just be like, hey, you know what we want to innovate? Like,
yeah, the clause was stupid, but the reason was real.
Right. So I think those things, and so the best way that I've tried to think about this is sitting him down for a little bit. Maybe this is your last chance, your last effort to get his attention and try to help correct whatever issues you have with him. But I don't think sticking with Jacoby for the rest of the season is like a great idea.
All right. Here is the Alonzo Mourning GIF. You know what I mean? The one of him sitting on the bench. And I'm gonna act it out myself. They would never take no white man's job away to give it to Jacoby Brissett. But Jacoby Brissett still got a job. Right? Look, I've heard the way they talk about Jacoby Brissett, okay? I know how y'all feel about Jacoby Brissett. Like, I understand this with all the talent Kyler Murray has and everything else. You ain't bailing out just that soon. However, there was a time when Jacoby Brissett would be somewhere parking cars or pumping gas, but nope, he's up there keeping the seat warm for Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray needs to understand they didn't want to have to go to Jacoby Brissett because that is a quarter black, which is what you do when you want to support the starter. But at the same time, he is also an actual factual backup. So just in case, he did put them in the situation. He's the best of both worlds if you got a black quarterback. Now that I think about it, that's what they need behind. They needed him behind that Jordan Love.
I didn't realize. So, like, I knew we were going to touch on this, but not until this moment did I realize how revolutionary this really is. Like, in a time where progress is hard to find.
Yes.
It's because it's not just the idea that you have to get a black quarterback in order not to have people, fans behind, when you have a starting black quarterback, have fans asking for the backup quarterback. That was a step that was shocking to me. And that came after the idea of Jacoby Brissett as a concept even existing. Like, you are a journeyman career backup black quarterback. That is all huge and amazing. But the point that you just reminded me of is we've gotten to a point where there is clamoring for the backup black quarterback to start. I never thought I'd see the day that clamoring would exist. Can you imagine if there was, at one point, there was a white starter and people was like, hey, you got to get Jacoby Brissett in there.
Yo, I was about to say, I don't think this has happened since Randall Cunningham took Ron Jaworski's job.
Randall Cunningham is a world-class sprinter.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. That is correct. I can't remember whose job Vince Young eventually took. You know what I'm saying? But the difference is, it's different when it's the young hot shot,
right?
That we talking about.
Yeah,
we just talking about Jacoby.
No, I mean, I think it's fair to remember that you often point out the Cam Newton story. That's what we're talking about.
Yes. When they were calling for Derek Anderson, yes. That so put it like this: the Colts brought Daniel Jones in to take Anthony Richardson's job. That was the point. They paid him you don't pay people $14 million in the NFL to not play. Right? They brought him in to take that young man's job. Okay. That is not why they brought Jacoby Brissett to the Arizona Cardinals. He about to be the starter by popular demand.
It's amazing to me. I had never seen that happen before. Like, it's not a thing that happens where they have a young quarterback who they've invested in, and his contract is too onerous for them to even trade. That's how much they committed to.
They've given it a try,
and they like, hey, maybe this IR need to be extended a little bit.
Hold on, they didn't just give him a try. They basically hired a coach to draft him. Or they got the coach, like the relationship between he and Kingsbury, who look, it could have worked out better, but it could have worked out way worse. But that was a ridiculous hire. He just got fired at Texas Tech. They hired him there, and then it's like, yo, Kyler Murray, I'm hitching my whole career to you, buddy. Okay, cool. And then he left, and they're like, well, this next guy, your career is hitched to him too.
Yeah, and this next guy don't seem like
no, he's had enough.
Given some of the things that he's said and done, I don't think he's gonna be willing to go without a fight.
No. He's not gonna let Kyler Murray get him fired. Right? Like that's
he's gonna go ahead and get himself fired if he get fired.
when the coach make the decision to go to Daniel Jones or to go to Jacoby Brissett, like particularly those guys that you're looking at as perhaps having a limited ceiling, what you're saying is what he's not going to do is get me fired. Zach Taylor being like, can we get Joe Flacco, please? Because Jake Browning is not going to get me fired. Joe Flacco might get me fired, and that's fine. But I'm not going to let Anthony Richardson get me fired.
Exactly.
I see it coming down the pike. I'm not letting him get me fired.
Yeah, he's like, your GM, was it Ballard? Like, you got all excited about all these physical traits. You saw Josh Allen and you gave them to me. But nah, that ain't going to define my career. And Steichen has shown that even if it don't work out there, he's reminded people, like, I can do this. He'll get another shot. And I think that's what Gannon is trying to do now.
Hey, at what point does Dave Canales say that I'm not letting Bryce Young get me fired?
I
think
they winning out here. Rico gonna save my job.
That's what I was about to say. Rico need to be the quarterback. Like, they're winning, and I don't have a great answer for it. But all the way around, the Bears, good thing they got around to start winning some games, because Ben Johnson was going to have to ask the question, am I going to let Caleb Williams get me fired? So here's the thing, though. If Sam Darnold gonna have a real job now for a while, and Daniel Jones gonna have a real job now for a while, and hey, Jacoby Brissett might be playing himself into a job, but who the new Grim Reaper, right? Who's the new guy that if you hear that your team, if you're the starting quarterback and they have brought him in, right? Like, Russell Wilson is now the new, like, if they bring him in, all right, you straight.
Yeah.
You good. But who the new, and it's funny because I was going to say it was what Kurt Warner was when the Giants got him and what they wanted Kurt Warner to be when he went to the Cardinals, but then he just ate Matt Leinart up. He was just like, nah, give me that.
I mean, Carson Wentz had his chance to be that guy.
He did.
Yeah, he bounced around. Like, he followed the same trajectory as...
Lots of people gave it a try. He turned into Jacoby Brissett. You'd much rather have Jacoby Brissett now than to have Carson Wentz.
It was like Baker, like the journey Baker went on to, where it was so bad, a bunch of different places, and Carson Wentz was like, yep, finally got my opportunity. And it didn't quite work out, and they tried to hurt that man. Oh, no, he kept wanting to go back in.
Yes.
I mean, it ain't Tyrod, is it? Like, I'm trying to think.
If I say, who does Tua need to be looking out for? Because Tyrod, I think, done got too old.
Yeah, I think Tua,
Well, who's the guy that's going to, like, fall from wherever they are to then come back and become that person, right? Like, maybe you need somebody to fall off of, look, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be Mac Jones. Because they've already given Purdy that money. Now, are Mac Jones and Brock Purdy the same person? It's on the board. But Purdy already has a contract.
How many years did Mac sign that contract for? Because he free right now. Somebody gonna give him a pretty penny to come in to make the starter nervous.
I have a sneaky suspicion that I know where Mac Jones is going to be the quarterback next year. The New York Jets.
No.
Hey, man, look, they got to show some signs of life soon. Like, they've got all these assets to go get a quarterback, but in the meantime, tween time, if you can go get Mac Jones for $14 million to hold it down, hey, he may be okay. I don't believe this. I watched Kyle Shanahan do this with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins, it ain't him. He could have been him. Yeah. I don't know. I think Mac Jones is the only one. I think that Trevor Lawrence gonna be might be looking for a new city in the next coming seasons. But he's gonna get a starting job. Yeah, he's gonna get a starting job. He's gonna get a starting job somewhere else, right?
I guess what I'm really trying to say in all of this is, if you keep working hard, Spencer Rattler, and keep at it, it may take a couple years, but I mean, he has talents, right? Yeah. He could become the boogeyman.
He could. And I wonder, like, it probably will never change just because of, like, supply and demand, but if we actually ever start responding, like, paying quarterbacks not based on the timing that they come up, but more based on what you project them to be. Like, I wouldn't advocate for that. I don't care. Like, they make the idea that the cap can't be manipulated if you pay a bunch of money. That's horse shit. Like, the Eagles are proving that right now. If you got an owner who's willing to commit that money, you can do it. But also, like, it does, like, when you are connected to a player the way that they're connected to Kyler Murray or they are in Miami to Tua, it changed. Did you see Tua's pregame speech before that Thursday night game? I didn't get to talk to you.
I did not see his I was unaware that there was a pregame speech. I try to avoid it when he talks. It doesn't seem to be good for him.
Yeah. It's good for content, though. You might want to check that thing out.
Okay, well, we got a break here, and we're going to take it. And while we take it, I'm going to search for this, and then we will come back.
You got it.
The holidays are here. Let's be honest. That means we don't always have the healthiest diet, which makes it hard for our bodies to get the key nutrients they need. That's where AG1 comes in. But what is AG1? AG1 isn't just another supplement. It's a daily micro habit that supports whole body health in one scoop. It's clinically shown to support gut health and fill in common nutrient gaps. With 5 probiotic strains and 75 plus vitamins and minerals, AG1 replaces the need for a multivitamin, probiotics, and more. For less than $3 per day with a subscription, you are getting more than $7 worth of daily nutritional support. Head to drinkag1.com/Bomani to get a free welcome kit, including a bottle of vitamin D and free AG1 travel packs when you first subscribe. That's drinkag1.com/Bomani. All right, we're back with Domonique Foxworth. I watched Tua's speech where he said that it's going to be 60 minutes of pain, but really 4 hours. And I understand the point that he was trying to make, but it reminds me once, I heard a basketball coach once give a talk to a freshman team after they had played poorly. And he explained to them that there was no I in team. And he also said that there wasn't a me in team. But there is a me, but you would have to take the M all the way from the back and put it up to the front. And he just went a little bit too far, right? He just needed to stick to the script. Tua needed to stop talking to people. Maybe Tua could become the boogeyman at some point. Because what he does strike me as, hold on, let me hear me out. He can mess around and come to a place and be a backup and get in there and have like 3 really good games. He could do that and then like make it dicey for whoever. Look, man, I'm watching Jacoby Brissett about to take somebody's job, dog. I can't be so sure that Tua can't do it.
So it's not about Tua's ability. It's about Tua's health.
Yeah.
I think the Dolphins, because of what he did there when he put up crazy numbers, I think they were willing to risk what comes along with Tua. And he hasn't had any more concussions. But I think that every other team, there's a distinct fear that he could get knocked out in a way that they'd be uncomfortable with. I just don't imagine that anybody, especially without the high-end, coming off of some high-end production, that anybody like, yeah, sign me up for being attached to that.
I know, but you sign him up as the backup. Like he's here to let the starter know.
Can I ask you a question? If that's the backup, like, I don't know. I try my best to do this job in a way that, like, if somebody, this is my family, or when I've been talked about, if I was okay about it, so I don't want to be, you know what I mean? But Bomani, you know what a backup quarterback is like, supposed to be kind of durable. Like, you want to back up, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna go get this guy who seems to be concussion prone and also refuses to put on the Guardian cap. I don't know if it will help or not, but I mean, I would try anything. And that's your backup is.
Hey, I understand your point. I also safe space, right? I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think about and imagine Tua Tagovailoa running around with that big ass Guardian cap helmet on and tell me that you don't understand why you won't do it.
No, I completely understand why he won't do it.
Why is so funny?
I completely understand why he wouldn't do it. It's the same reason why he says 60 minutes of pain. There's something about toughness and coolness that go hand in hand. And there's something about putting that cap on that feels... And there's something about stupidity and toughness that go hand in hand.
The Guardian cap is another example, much like pepper spray, where its analog is granted free throws. Everybody knows that they're effective, but if they're so effective, you would tell everybody to wear it. But you don't. You only tell the people who've already got their eggs scrambled to wear it because you know it looks ridiculous. Like, it's another.
When I was in the league, there was like newer helmets that were supposed to be better. And you know what I did? I kept my old shit. Because my old shit wasn't bloated like that when it ain't look funny. It's just I'm not better than any of them. I get it. I wouldn't put it on. Yeah.
I got you. I got something funny for you. Now that we're on a good chuckle roll, I think I need to continue with this. And you said that you have not heard this story. I am going to read it to you because I don't want to miss out on any details. Okay. This is from ESPN.com, the homie Greg Wyshynski. Washington Capitals star Alex Ovechkin made hockey history Wednesday night, becoming the first NHL player to score 900 goals. Ovechkin was eventually given that record-setting puck. Once St. Louis Blues goalie Jordan Binnington stopped hiding it in his pants. Yes. So I think this part is also worth noting in how we got here.
What?
In the second period of the 6-1 Capitals rout, Ovechkin intercepted Binnington's pass to teammate Nathan Walker. The puck eventually found Washington defenseman Jacob C. for a shot from the point that bounced off the inboards. Ovechkin collected the rebound and quickly slid a backhand shot into the Blues net for his third goal of the season. As the Capitals celebrated with Ovechkin, Binnington nudged the puck out of the net with his stick and picked it up with his goalie glove. He tucked his stick under his arm, pulled his hand out of his blocker, and plucked the puck from his glove. He then tucked the disc into the back of his pants in full view of television cameras. Hold on. Later, linesman Michel Cormier had a discussion with Binnington in his crease, after which the Blues goalie reached back into his pants and handed the 900th goal puck to the official.
Is he just doing a bit? Maybe he's just doing a bit. He's trying to be funny because you have to know that you're not going to get away with it. It was... I don't understand people, man. I don't understand people.
I feel like it would have been well within Ovechkin's right. Like, come on, we got to do it. But you got to fight me and the squad. Like I just caught you stealing my shit. Right? Like, I think it's fair to say that, and look, I know it isn't exactly Ovechkin's, but you knew what time it was.
Yeah.
Like, or were you thinking of selling it later? Were you simply being a hater? How did you think that you could slickly go about doing this while wearing hockey pads and blockers and stuff? But he straight tried to gaffle that. And it reminds me of the time my brother tells this story about this dude that tried, this is the 1980s, so you'll understand, tried to get him for an answering machine. Like, he tried to walk out of the party with the answering machine, and I forget what he tried to tuck it into, but when he got to the door, it was this thud, and the answering machine had hit the ground. God. And they told him it was fine, he could go ahead and take it, but the next time they saw him, he needed to have an answering machine on him, or you knew what time it was, and they gave that dude like 3 on-sites as a result, right? This feels like an on-site. Like, I would have been, if I had known, if you're Ovechkin and you know what is happening, I can't imagine how furious I would be. Did you ever see that time Pablo tried to take $100 out of my hand on TV?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, this is early in the game, not game theory, in the high noon days. And looking back, this was a reckless activity in which we engaged. But somebody had done something involving saying the alphabet backwards. And Pablo was like, can you say the alphabet backwards? And I somehow convinced him to put $100 actual on the table. And little did he know, my black ass has been preparing for encounters with law enforcement for as long as I can remember. And so I could easily do that. I can do that right. ZYXWVUTSRQPONMLKJIHGFEDCBA. And you can watch the clip. It washes over Pablo about halfway through that he got. Right. And so I picked the $100 up off the table. And I also realized at some point that Pablo misunderstood and didn't think that $100 was on the line.
Oh, he thought he was doing a bit.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what he thought, but I pick that $100 off the table. I'm being a jerk, man. I'm fanning myself off of that $100. I got it out there, and it's a big table, right?
Yeah.
That we're sitting there on television. And at some point, he was on tilt. I don't know why, but he tried to reach across the table and take the money out of my hand. And I pulled it back, but I realized in that moment, my brain does not register, hey, we're on television,
right,
as quickly as I would like it to. Like, we didn't have an incident, but my brain has a very clear, this is what you do when somebody tries to take money out of your hand, right? The flow chart is unambiguous on what to do.
In your defense, to be fair to you, is rarely in that like mental checklist is, am I on TV right now?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, it never dawned on me. I was like, what?
Huh?
And I pulled it back quick, but I was like, what? I say all that to say, if I watch somebody steal from me out there in a world where fighting is perfectly appropriate, we're all coming. Like, if anybody on the team had seen that, we all, hey, partner, off that.
It's funny because my immediate reaction is not that, because it's just so stupid that if I saw this, I would like shrug my shoulders if I'm Ovechkin, like, what this fool think he doing? Like, you think you're getting away with this? What? And also, I mean, I don't know hockey history that well, but I know Ovechkin scoring 900 goals is a big deal. This fool done made himself first ever. So the first ever 900 goal, this fool done made himself a part of the story. Like, you remember when we reached this historic milestone as a sport? Man, put a puck in his ass.
I'm saying, it is sweaty keister. Like, did he put it on or in? Like, how dedicated to the bit was it? Like, no. In fact, I might not let him stay on my own team.
Yeah.
He the first person we looking at when something come up missing.
It was planned too. Like, he knew it was a possibility. Like, Ovi ain't scored 4 in that game. He came into that game like, it's a possibility that he scored 900 on me. How could I ruin this moment? Because he couldn't have thought, he can't be dumb enough to think he was going to actually get away with the puck.
Well, also worth noting, they was getting rocked. They were. Let me check which goal it was that Ovechkin scored. It was it hadn't even got bad yet. It was just the second goal. It was just the second goal.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I mean, no, it's not actually. I was trying to think of another opportunity or another situation where people stole in mid-game, like those championship or major important milestones, but all I can think about is chain snatching. And
like, maybe they steal your shit out the locker room.
Yeah, that happens.
But not like out here in front of everybody.
It's absolutely ridiculous. But you're right. Like, you would think that things like this wouldn't happen in hockey because fighting is perfectly acceptable. Like, we police ourselves around here. We don't gotta send no fines.
But what that come down to is, man, don't nobody think that white man about to steal. Like, that's like, I think that's the easiest way white people get away with a significant amount of stealing is people think white people don't steal. Like, they ain't never read not one book about white people before. I'm not saying every white person steals. I'm just saying white people stealing explains a lot.
And I mean, the NHL is made up of a lot of non-Americans. So, like, correct. I imagine in a lot of these places, there aren't a lot of, like, clear and distinct differences in the way that we have here. So how do they tell who to hate? Like, so how do they tell which ones is stealers and which ones is not? Like, you have to know the last names or something. It seems so much more difficult.
Where you go to church, right? I guess that's the question. Now, last thing I want to bring up while we're here. Wow, this has been, as far as I'm concerned, an excellent episode. What's up with your man Tom Brady cloning his dog, bro?
This is bad of me, but I think when I saw that, the first thing I thought, because he's like an investor in this company, was what they doing on humans, and is Tom Brady interested? That's the first thing I thought, which is like inappropriate thought to have, but it seemed consistent with. I don't know. Just go ahead and.
Well, also, Tom Brady is up for shady futuristic endeavors, right? Fortune favors the brave. Was that him? Was he in the FTX world?
Yeah, he was for that. And he also like has these weird, crazy diets.
He does.
Never mind. I'm sure we've discussed my opinions on those before. Definitely not while being recorded, but for some other time. But
wow, those must be super hot takes.
no, they're not hot takes. It's just I don't like when people start pre-explaining things with diet. That I think I'll just leave it at that. Whenever somebody starts talking about, I started eating right. That's why I'm about to have some advantages.
Yeah, that sounds like just Giambi. Yeah, I just lost like 8 pounds, man. Just cleaned up my diet. No, it has nothing to do with the drug testing they just started. Not saying that's Tom Brady, but I'm saying
just in general, I get concerned that if you've been an all-star, superstar, great athlete and high level your whole life, that why you wasn't doing this before. That's all I be wondering. Why you wasn't getting rid of these foods before. But the cloning the dog thing, and I hold space for the idea that maybe I'm just an old man, and when I was 20, futuristic stuff seemed appropriate, and there are probably things that other people was like, nah, this is dumb or whatever. And I know, like, you could go back a long history of people saying you playing with God or you playing like you God, and it's actually just like the introduction of medicine. I get that. But this feel weird, man.
Yeah. I got to make sure my brother don't find out about this. My brother can't turn down no gadget or no technology. That's why some of these people got our goddamn DNA. Just had to find out where we from in Africa, huh? Right? Like that's just what we had to do. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, like the idea that the dog could be cloned, that's a terrifying technology because I just can't imagine how many people want to get a hold of that one.
The DNA
but it ain't gonna be the same dog, man.
Yeah, definitely not gonna be the same dog. We can get back to that, but when you said the DNA, it reminded me of, like, obviously there are these databases of DNA that help law enforcement find people or whatever that have committed crimes. Or DNA is at a crime scene. So with the Louvre crime, they found some DNA on those things. And it's not even that, which is like incredible to me that you're able to find these little bits of DNA on a window or whatever. That's fine. That's science. All right, I accept it. They said in France, it's like mandatory. If you don't give up your DNA, they fine you or put you in jail. And I was like, what? That, like, I'll Google it now just to make sure I'm not spreading no misinformation. But I was listening to like some NPR news thing, and they were saying that to some degree is you are compelled to do it, or you can pay a fine or go to jail for a certain amount of days.
Okay. It says under very specific legally regulated circumstances, maybe.
Well, ain't
by the way, here's what's interesting. DNA testing for genealogy is illegal in France. I love that. They're like, come on, this is an obvious setup.
Yeah. I mean, is this just like to ward off the potential of reparations? Like, why they want to?
Oh, that's a great question. But I love them being like, come on, man. That seems. Are you sure you really want to do this?
I just want to know why. I'm sure that France say they didn't decide to do this because they want to protect the people.
I mean, or maybe they think that is not data that should be trusted with corporations.
I could agree with that.
You know? Maybe.
But, maybe I'm just jaded by American government where their corporations can make the things legal they want to be legal. I know things are different over there in France.
All I'm saying is this. France was way high on my if I got a list. And that piece of information makes me look at the place a little bit differently. Like every day, that's one thing, man. There's a lot of this America that I do acknowledge. I don't try to sound like them people, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But there are a lot of things that I do realize that we take for granted about how we get down in America, that you go somewhere else, even the places that you think are cool. Like that First Amendment thing here, other places ain't got those.
No, I'm 100% with you. And I also it's a lot like being a parent in that when I tell my kids how grateful they are or how grateful they should be, or I think how grateful they should be for all the things that they have, it's all they known. And it don't make the fact that they ain't getting what they want right now feel any better. Like I feel the same way about America. Like, yeah, so much of this shit is awesome. But that don't mean that the shit that stinks don't stink.
Oh, no, you're totally right. I've just found out that maybe they might stick a swab me over there, and I had not bet on that when I was coming up with contingency plans.
Soon as you walk across them lines, or as soon as the plane land, they're gonna check, make sure, just in case you want to steal some jewels from the Louvre, be able to find your way.
Something else about that, I saw it. I thought this was interesting. Was apparently it seemed like they were really good thieves.
Yeah.
And I guess they were good at the thieving part, but apparently they were actually quite panicked and left a whole treasure trove of clues behind. They were just like, look, man, get in and get out. We'll worry about the rest of that later. They were shook like you would be if you decided you were going to break in the Louvre.
They dropped the jewels. They couldn't light the thing on fire. That's all wild. But the reason why I think you were right to make that assumption is because we all have had this thought, like fencing something like that seems impossible. So obviously you would think how you could make money. So if you have the connections to move something like that, you got to be sophisticated, or maybe you just dumb.
Yeah. And it would tell you something else too. I don't know how you put a crew together to do this.
Yeah.
Because like the real pros are like, nah, dog, this is they're going to find you. It may not be tomorrow, but here's what this will not be: a cold case.
I have not, maybe it's watching too many movies, but I assume that what would have to happen in this case is the people that did the job are dummies who are willing to do the job, and they bring it and deliver it. When it's time to get paid, they not leaving because they know what's happening. And this is just my movie mind. And then you go off and get things done. But I can't imagine the fact that these guys seem to also be the ones. I don't know. We don't know how this all worked out, but it seems quite messy.
I will say this. Your plan of I'm going to break into the Louvre and these people are going to pay me and then I'm going to get my cut. No. That's not going to. You're going to get smoked.
You're going to get cut all right.
Yeah, you're going to get smoked. Let me tell you, that reminds me of an analogous story. When I went over there to Asia last year, went to Cambodia. And I didn't really know that much about the Khmer Rouge, except that they was, kind of dastardly. But apparently, from the way the story that the guides were telling us, is that the Khmer Rouge was funded, like the king had been exiled. And the king was funding, I think it was the Khmer Rouge. If it wasn't them, it was another outfit. But anyway, the king was in China, and he was funding this outfit to overthrow the government to put him back in power. And so he giving them the money to put him back in power. And they finally won. And they're like, yeah, come on down, right? They're like, hey, baby, it's a party, man. Only thing that's missing is you, dog. Everywhere I go, they like, bro, where the king at? Where the king at? You got to come back, dog. It's cracking down here. And so the king come back. And when the king come back, they locked his ass up. It was like, what we need you for? we got the country.
We're just going to hand you the reins.
Right.
For what?
A deal's a deal. Right? No, they threw his ass in jail.
That's the thing. That's the thing about operating in these places or operating in these environments. Like, and I don't mean countries. I just mean like if you're working in the underworld where there's no legal recourse.
Right.
Yeah, there's some things that
call.
Yeah, it eventually always get down to, but can you whoop my ass?
Yes.
Like at some point, that's what it's going to come down to. And if you don't got the people that can get the job done, maybe you should stay out of there.
We just overthrew a whole country. Why you think we can't overthrow you? We have all the infrastructure we need right here. I got enough friends to overthrow a country.
Yeah. And you have demonstrated that you're the type of person to pay people to overthrow governments. Why you are dastardly yourself? I'ma trust you? Nah. As soon as you shook my hand, I knew you wasn't shit.
And when shit get tight, you run. Right? we stood 10 toes down.
Lost friends, I'm sure.
You ran away. We see you. That is Domonique Foxworth. Check him out on the Domonique Foxworth Show, available where all 5 podcasts are given away for free. My brother, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right, man. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 3 times a week. Ryan Brumley handled everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Also, hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. If you do happen to have a story about the time you caught somebody stealing from you and how it ended, I would love to hear it, along with any other thoughts you may have. 323-596-7767. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater, and we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.